Hey, welcome to Connecting with Code. The way this camp works is it is a video, which you're watching now, and you try to follow along with this video to do the same things that I'm doing. So you actually work the video and you learn about coding in the process. This year what we're doing is we're doing Scratch. We have 2 weeks of Scratch events. This first week is kind of for a K through 3 focus, but really it's for anybody that hasn't done much coding. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing games. There's a number of different games that we've got lined up. They're kind of all a little food themed for fun. It starts with Alphabet Breakfast. That's what we're going to be doing today. Then in day 2, we're going to be building a game called Hedgehog Snack. And then day 3 is Fish Lunch. Fair warning, day 3 is the hard one, right? So that's like the middle of the week, the hardest thing. And then Catching Dinner is 4. And then we finish on kind of a lighter one called Kaleidoscope Dessert. And somebody different, my daughter, McKinley, is going to be leading that one, which is going to be fun. This material, by the way, it was made by me. I'm at Rolls-Holman, so this material is presented by Rolls-Holman. It was also developed by Bob Schaefer. So he's not on camera here with us, but he helped develop all the material. And he's at Mission College, which is out in California. And so we're partnering this year to bring you Connecting with Code. And the way this works is in these videos, I'm not just here by myself. I'm actually with my family, and my family is going to serve as my campers. So I'm going to go ahead and have my family introduce themselves to me. We'll start with our first camper. What's your name, camper?
Neela.
Neela, how old is Neela?
5, and I go into preschool.
Yeah, so Neela's 5, and so who's helping Neela since she's 5?
Mommy.
Yeah, Mommy's helping Neela. And who's our next camper, and how old are you?
Bowen.
And how old are you, Bowen?
7.
And so Bowen's 7. And so Mommy is helping Neela a lot, and she's helping Bowen just a little less. So at 7 and 5, they can do it with Mommy's help. Then I've got my campers who do it all by themselves. So first camper doing it by yourself, what's your name?
I am Keegan Fisher.
And how old are you?
I am 9 years old and I am in 3rd grade.
So he's 9, but he's been coding for a while, so he's going to be doing it by himself. And our final camper?
I'm McKinley and I am 10 years old.
And she is an experienced coder, and she's definitely doing it by herself. So that's the campers that I have with me here today. So what are we going to do today? So today what we're doing is we're building a Scratch app. This whole week is coding in Scratch. Scratch is a website that you'll go to where you build things and learn how to code. Hopefully a lot of people have heard about Scratch. Let's show a demo of what we're trying to make today. So today we're making one called Alphabet Breakfast. So this is the solution. So you're just kind of watching for a minute and the solution. And the idea of this app, let me go ahead and make it full screen here, is that you are Avery. So Avery is walking around collecting things, and she has to collect food in alphabetical order. So the first thing she collected there was an apple. Anybody know what she needs to collect next? What starts with B?
Banana.
Yeah, Neela got it. So a banana. And if I try to eat the wrong thing, let's say I try to eat an egg next. Does egg start with C?
No.
Not really. So it just says keep trying. Food should be eaten alphabetically. So I got to find a seafood. Anybody see a good seafood?
Cake.
Cake. And so we eat the cake. What comes after cake, you think?
Donut.
Donut. After donut,
Egg.
egg. And then she does a little dance. So that's what we're building today. That's a long song, I guess. That's what we're building today, and that's our goal. And we're going to be building it up with a block-based programming language called Scratch. And we're going to be learning a lot of great things today. These are kind of like our learning objectives. Maybe I'll come reflect on these at the end. But what you need to do is you need to go to this website, scratch.mit.edu. You can see Scratch was first made when it was at MIT, and it's grown so much since then. When you're on this Scratch page, your first choice is you can either just get started, which is great. You'll just click on create if you want, or if you like, you can sign in. It doesn't matter to me if you sign in or not. In general, I think that you should because your work will be saved more permanently to your account, but it's pretty easy to sign up. And if you want to do that, you can just pause the video and go do that on your own. So campers, are you ready to get started?
Yes.
All right, everybody click on create. When you click on create, it makes a new program. Whenever you have a new program, you get to see the editor here. The editor is broken into a lot of different places. Let's just talk about it some so we're more familiar with Scratch. This area right over here, this upper right, is called the stage. Below the stage are the different actors that are like on the stage. Sprites, shoot, I gave it away. Scratch calls them the special name. Does anybody know what the special name is? Sprite. I gave away the answer. So they're called sprites. We have one sprite right now, but we can actually have many sprites. Sprites have code, so each sprite has their own code. The code is over here in the left in the toolbar. Let's drag over one line of code. So drag over move 10. So now you can see that our cat has code that he can run, move 10. So the question is, how do we run this code? Well, one way to run it is to double click on it. So double click on where it says move 10. And you'll notice something about your mouse. Every time you double click it, he'll go over to the right. Now, one fun thing is you can also just kind of drag him back over here, and you can double click it, and you can run it some more. Eventually, you'll get bored with doing this. So once you're bored with this, let's do some more things. Now, double clicking on it is one way to run code, but a much better way to run code is to add a when green flag clicks. So let's look at these commands. If you scroll down through here, there's some blue ones, and then there's some purple ones, and then there's some yellow ones, and maybe you can call that orange, and there's a lot of commands. To make it easier to get around the commands, they're broken into categories. The category we want is events. So click on over here on the far left where it says events, and it'll scroll you to that section of the code. So you can kind of see that these things, they just help you scroll around to find the right category. So the most common way to run code is to grab this when green flag clicked and put it and just snap it right on top of your code. So this is what most Scratch programs look like. So this is considered like the start of the program. So our cat, when the green flag is clicked, he's going to move 10. Let's try it a couple times. So click on the green flag, and he'll move. He'll move across the stage. So this is just to kind of get you familiar with the environment that we're working in. But actually, we don't need a cat at all in this game. If you remember looking at the solution, there were no cats in there. So we don't need this particular sprite. So what I want to do is I want to delete this sprite. So he was just a test. To delete it, some of my campers found this already. There's a trash can icon over here, and if you click this trash can icon, the cat will be gone. Poof! If you ever do something like that on accident, campers, how do you fix a problem if you did that on accident? Yeah, Command Z or Control Z, depending on what type of computer you're on. That's undo. So if I messed up, I just hit Control Z or Command Z. Oops, that didn't work. You can also go to Edit, Restore Sprite, and it'll just be back, right? I did want to delete him. That was a good thing to do. But just know that undo is very important with things you're doing. All right, now let's add a new sprite. I've got a sprite that I'm planning on you using. Her name is Avery Walking. So what we want to do is we want to add a new sprite. To do that, there's a circle down here for choose a sprite. This circle confuses me a little bit because what happens is when I hover over it, it like shoots up this thing. It turns out you can ignore the thing that pops up. You can just click right on the circle. So click right on the circle, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a different sprite instead of that cat. And I'm looking for one called Avery Walking. Now I can see Avery Walking is right here, so I'm just going to select it. But just know that when you're looking for sprites, you can search for them in here. You can also organize them by category, lots of options. But I want Avery Walking. So when I click on her, she's now into my Scratch project. Avery is looking pretty good. She's a little big. So what I want to do is I want to make her a little smaller. So right here is the size. The size right now is set to 100. That means 100% of her normal size. Make her some amount smaller. I'm going to go with 60. So now she'll be able to play this game better. Right next to size, you can see she's also got what direction she's pointing in. And you can kind of like move her around like this, which is kind of fun. And after a while, you'll get dizzy. Now, sprites have different modes. You can see that right now, her mode is that she can point in any direction. I think she looks silly when she's like walking up. And so what I do is I switch her mode. Right now the mode is set to any direction. It's called all around. You can also switch it to where she's just left, right, or where she doesn't rotate at all. I want to switch her mode to where she just does left, right. So I fixed her size, so she's the right size, and then I switched her mode to where she's just left, right. And so now if she's pointing anywhere to the left, her sprite just kind of looks like it's straight left. And if she's anywhere to the right, she's straight right. So she's only got those two options now. It doesn't really matter where you leave this arrow, but I'm going to put mine back to roughly 90 degrees. All right, so Avery is ready to go, but she has no code. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a when green flag clicked. So I'm still in my events area, so I can just bring it over. And what we want Avery to do is we want her to forever move and follow the mouse. So it's really mean to tell people to do something forever, but in code it happens all the time. So let's see if we can find the forever statement. So the forever statement is in the control category. Control is just below events, so you can just scroll down there if you want, or you can click on this word control. And what you're doing is you're trying to find a forever loop. So the forever loop, it's the third one down right here. So just drag a forever loop and pop it into place. So now when the green flag is clicked, Avery is going to do something forever. And right now the thing she does forever is nothing. There's no code in there. Let's add some code in there. The code we're going to add is up in motion. So go on motion and find one that says point towards mouse pointer. Now this one's tricky because there's a couple in here that are similar, but I want point towards mouse pointer. Some people accidentally grab like go to or something like that, but point towards will do it. So if we're pointing towards the mouse pointer, when I run this program, she should point towards my mouse pointer. Now she only points left or right, so when I run it, if my mouse is over here, she points over here. And if my mouse goes on the other side, she switches direction. So she's pointing to the left, she's pointing towards the right. Left, right, left, right, left, right. You can also see that the code is running in a couple of other ways. First, it's outlined in yellow, so you can see that it's running because it's outlined in yellow. Also, the green flag kind of appears that it's like continually depressed. It's not sad, it's just always pressed. All right, let's add some more code. My camper's doing okay? Everybody good? All right, let's do some movement. So just below that point towards, add a move 10 steps. And the value 10 determines how fast she walks. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and run it. And she's going to move towards my mouse at 10. If you want to play with speeds, every kid likes to do this, right? So you can go faster. But if she goes too fast, it works out badly, right? So everybody likes to do that, so I was just showing it to you. You can go slower. So if I go at 2, she'll just go really slow. And I'm going to leave mine at 15 is where I'm going to leave mine. That will appear to be kind of fast, but we're going to fix that in a minute. So you can play around with it, but I'm going to leave mine at 15 because I'm going to do something here in a minute that's going to make that be the correct speed. Right now it's a little fast. Another problem that I have is Avery is gliding places, right? I want her to be walking places. Now I'm going to show you something about Avery. Avery has code. We can see her code here because we're in the code tab. Avery also has costumes, and Avery has sounds. The reason we picked Avery is because she has 4 costumes, and if you cycle between those costumes, it'll look like she's walking. So if you picked Avery, then you can make her look like she's walking. So let's do that. Let's go into looks, because her costume, like the way she looks is in looks, and find this one called next costume, and put it on the bottom. Now I'm going to warn you, she's going to walk really fast. So you can see that she walks quite quickly as she's going around. And it's kind of comical to watch her, but it is a little too fast. So how do we slow her down? So the way I want to slow her down is I want to put in a short time delay. And so with a short time delay, it'll make her look like she's walking not extremely fast. Time delays are over in Control. So go to Control. Take a wait 1 second and put it down at the bottom of your function, the bottom of your forever loop. So now we're pointing towards the mouse pointer, we're moving 10, we're switching costumes so she looks like she walks, and then we're waiting 1 second. You can try 1 second, but it's going to be way too slow. That's quite painful. And so I'm going to switch it to 0.1 seconds. That, I think, looks good enough for me. So she's walking around, and it looks like things are going well. I think I'm going to come around and I'm going to check on some of my campers to see how they're doing. And it'll give you a minute to get caught up if you've fallen behind. All right, Neela, let's start with you. So have you got yours caught up? Oh, Neela's a little on the independent side. Neela put a big old horse in there instead of Avery walking. It looks really good. Can you show that he moves around? So you do the green flag there, and then as you move the mouse around, it's going great. Bowen. Oh, what a bunch of rule followers. Bowen's got a penguin on here. Hit it, Bowen. Let's see yours. Oh, and the penguin. Oh, that's kind of neat, Bowen. The penguin has a walking animation. Great job, you two. 5 and 7. You can do it. Let's check on our older campers. So we've got McKinley with an Avery. Yours is a little fast. Change it to 0.1 instead of 0.1. And Keegan's is right there. McKinley says she knew what she was supposed to do. She just wanted it to be fast. I suppose that's okay. All right, so the next thing we want to do is Avery's looking good. Avery's walking around a white space. Let's go ahead and give her a better background. So just like we added a sprite, we're going to add a backdrop. So in the lower right corner here, there's a circle that says choose backdrop. Go ahead and click on that circle in the lower right corner. Just like with sprites, it'll take you to a screen that lets you pick the one you want. What I chose to do is I chose to do bedroom 1 because I thought that it would be good to be able to hide things in there and to kind of make it look like it's part of the environment. I don't mind if you do something different. You can do whatever you want to do, but just pick one that you think you'd like. While you're picking that, I'm going to talk about backdrops just a little bit. The first thing I want to say about backdrops is that you can see right now that my sprite is selected and I can see her code. If I ever accidentally click on the stage, now it shows my stage's code. So do this for me. Go back and forth. Click on your sprite and you can see your sprite's code is here. And then if you click on your backdrop, which is over here to the right, you can see the backdrop's code, which is blank. I only point that out because sometimes people accidentally click over there and they're like, where'd all my code go? And it's because code can be different for different sprites. It can also be different for the backdrop. And just know to bring your code back, all you have to do is click on Avery. Easy peasy. All right, let's add a new sprite. So we want to add food for her to eat alphabetically. And so this time I think it really would be best if you follow along and you add an apple. So click on Choose Sprite, the circle down here, and see if you can find an apple. Now you can see that there's 2 different sprites. There's Avery, and Avery has code that we've written. And then there's an apple, which currently has no code at all. And you can go back and forth between them pretty easily. The apple, if you like its size, you can leave it. I'm going to choose to make my apple just a little bit smaller, maybe a 70% apple. You can also put it somewhere in your environment. Maybe I'll do a 50% apple and put it on the table to where it kind of looks like it belongs. So it's a little bit more hidden. That's optional. Next, let's write some code for the apple. Oh, I just realized there's another important thing that I forgot to do. Whenever you're coding, I'll ask my campers this. What's an important thing to do when you're coding, campers?
Save.
Save. It's important to save every so often. What I'm going to do is I'm going to name my project. I'm going to name mine Alphabet Breakfast. You can name your project anything you'd like. And it does auto-save, but if you ever want to force it to save, you can click on File, Save Now. So it will periodically autosave, so you don't have to keep hitting File, Save Now. But if you ever do something and you're like, oh, I want to make sure it saves, just click on File, Save Now, and you'll be sure that it saves. Back to the apple. So the apple, let's go ahead and do a when green flag for him as well. So click on Events. When green flag clicked. You'll find that a lot of sprites start that way, unless you're doing something really advanced. A lot of them start this way. And what we're going to do with the apple is we're going to decide to show him or hide him. So he's going to either be shown or hidden. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure he's shown when the program starts. So go to Looks first and find Show. Now I know right now he's shown and everything's fine, but periodically in this app he's going to get hidden, and I want to make sure he starts off being shown. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to forever check to see if Avery's touching the apple. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a forever loop. So I'm in Control, and I drag a forever loop over. All right, now inside the forever loop, we want to check if she's touching the apple. This is one of our flow control statements. It's also in the control area. And it looks like this. It's just an if, so drag this if over and drop it inside the forever loop. So we're forever going to check if something is happening. Now, the way you read this is it says if, and then this diamond shape is the condition. So if this condition is true, then run this code. Now let's find a good condition to put in here. Go into sensing. So we want to sense if we're touching Avery or not. So this is kind of interesting, but the thing we want to drag into there is actually if touching mouse pointer. And the reason we're going to drag this in is you see this white arrow on here? So this white arrow means that you can probably change it. And sure enough, you can change it to say if touching Avery walking. So Avery walking is the name of that other sprite. So if touching Avery walking, then we want to hide. Hide is a command which is over in Looks. So we're going to bring in a hide and drop it right there. So you can see that the apple has code that it runs, and Avery has code that she runs. And if I hit the green flag right now, Avery's going to walk around, and as soon as she touches the apple, it disappears. Poof, it's gone. And then if you stop your program and restart it, the apple comes back. Cool, I'd say it's going pretty well. Another important thing with games is that they're fun, right? So right now the apple just disappears. I think it'd be more fun if our apple made a little bit of noise. So our apple is going to make a noise whenever we get it. We're going to make a chomp sound. All sprites have sounds that they currently know about. Let's click on the apple and let's see what sounds it knows about. Sure enough, he has a sound called chomp. Go ahead and play it. It kind of sounds like on the apple. So he already has the sound we want. If we wanted more sounds, we could add them, but we don't need to for him. He's got the sound we want. So let's go back to our code. So in the code, look for sound. And what we want to do is we want to play sound chomp. Now there's a couple versions of this. There's play sound until done, and then there's start sound chomp. In this case, it doesn't matter. You can put in either one that you'd want. So let's go ahead and run it again. And now when we hit the apple, it should make a chomp sound, which is kind of fun. I don't know if you can hear the chomp on the video as well, but mine worked really nicely. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a variable. So if you remember the main game, what it did is it had many different things you had to eat, right? And we had to know, was it time to eat the apple or not? Because if you try to eat the bananas first, it would say, keep trying, food should be eaten alphabetically. But if you eat the apple first, then it should work, right? And so what we need to do is we need to keep track of the state of the game. The state of the game is a variable. So do this. Click on variables for me. and click on Make a Variable. I'm going to name this variable food. You can see that there's a couple options here. It says for all sprites or for this sprite only. This variable is for everybody in the whole world. So the default of for all sprites was correct. So I just need to type the word food and then hit OK. Now with variables, you can see that it shows it up here. It says food 0. There's a couple things that we always do with variables. We always want to set their initial value. We want to update them at an appropriate time, and then we want to use them. So I want to set food to be 1. So I want to set it to 1 when this program starts up. I'm going to choose to put that code on Avery. So click on Avery. And so now we're back over in Avery's code. And let's add some code to her. What I want to do is I want to add set food to, and so I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to put it before the forever loop. Now just for fun, that's where it goes. You should put it right there. I'm gonna pretend like I made a mistake and show you how to fix a mistake. So one thing that happens all the time when you're coding is you drop things in the wrong spot. And so let's say I drop this right here. Oh no, that's the wrong spot. So the question is, how do I fix it? The way you do it is you drag it over, it brings everybody below it with it, and then you drag the things that you wanted back, right? So it's kind of a two-step process. You'll get used to it with Scratch. So where I want it is right here. And I want to set its initial value to 1. Hey, also while I'm over here, let's go ahead and make sure that Avery starts in the same spot each time in the game. So put Avery to wherever you want her to start at. I'm going to have her start in the bottom of her room here. And I want her to start there, so that's a motion command. So click on motion. So I want the command go to X, Y, and I want to drop it in here. At the same time I set the variable, I'm going to set her initial position. Your numbers don't have to be the same as mine. And the nice thing about Scratch is if you've got her where you want her, those, it's called the arguments, will get set correctly, right? So wherever you put her in the right spot first, then you drag this command over, and things will work quite nicely. So start her somewhere weird, hit the green flag, and you'll notice that she'll go to your starting spot each time. So no matter where she's at, she'll go back to your starting spot. All right, so this variable, we made it, we set its initial value. Now let's see if we can change it at an appropriate time. Click on your apple. So your apple, if he's touching Avery, he needs to hide, he needs to make a chomp sound. By the way, the order of those two commands doesn't matter at all. You can have it swapped and that's fine. The other thing we want to do is we want to increment the variable. So let's just go ahead and quickly go to variables and find change food by 1 and drop it in here. So let's go ahead and run it again. And this won't be that exciting, but if you notice food is currently 1, but after I eat the apple, food changes to 2, right? So things are going pretty good. Now the next thing we're going to do is a little tricky. So I want to only be able to eat the apple if food is currently 1. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the code that I've got in here, and I'm going to set it over to the side. So I still want that code, but I'm just going to set it over to the side. Now what I want to do is I want to have an if-else statement. So we've learned about if statements. They were over in control. And this time what we want is we want the more complex version. It kind of looks like a big letter E. And put in an if-else statement. And so when we're touching Avery, we want to check, is food equal to the correct number? And in this case, 1. So if food is equal to 1, we want to let you eat it. If food is not 1, then we want to show like an error message. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to operators. And we're going to find the one that says equals. It's about 6 or 7 down here. And so if our variable food is equal to, the apple's the first thing, so if our variable food is equal to 1, then we're going to do stuff. Go into variables, and drag food into that other white circle. I did that kind of fast, so if you need to pause the video, that's fine. But I went into operators and I grabbed this equals. I changed the right-hand side to be 1. Then I went into variables and I grabbed food and I put that on the left-hand side. So if food is 1, then I want to do this stuff that we were doing over here. So I'm going to drop this into the top. Now, what should we do if food is not 1? Does anybody want to say what we should do if food is not 1? Bowen, do you have any ideas? Do you remember what this program did? So if I try to eat the banana, what did it say? Yeah. So if it's not the right time, we want to say a message. So let's go into looks and grab this say hello for 2 seconds. And then you should probably have an adult type your message because it takes forever to type. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say keep trying. Oops, sorry, I meant to say keep trying. And then I'll say food should be eaten alphabetically. Now, have an adult type that for you because it takes a while to type. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. Now this time, we only have one food. It's the apple. It's the correct time to eat the apple. So if you hit the apple, it should go chomp, and it should be successful. We've never seen this message still. Let's make another Sprite. Let's add some bananas. So to add another Sprite, this is kind of a review. Click on this green circle down here. And find the bananas. For me, it's still pretty high in the order. By the way, eventually we're going to go to the food category, and this will have all the different foods we're going to eat. So I'm going to go with banana. If you want to do bread, bread also starts with B, that'd be fine. If you want to eat a bowl, I suppose you could, but I wouldn't recommend eating bowls. I'm going to decide where the bananas need to go into my figure. I'm going to make them a little sneaky. I'm going to say that these bananas are sitting over here at the edge of the bed. Now what we want to do is the bananas need to have all the same code that the apple had. The only thing that's different is whether this food is equal to 1 or food is equal to 2. But it's mostly the exact same. I do not want to type it all. And Sprite has Scratch has a really good trick for this. Go to the apple and drag the code from the apple and drop it right here on the banana. It takes a little bit of getting used to. And you can see that whenever I did it, the banana kind of wiggled a little. And so if I drop it right there, now it's a copy paste is what happened. So now if I go to my apple, I can see that my apple has this code. And if I go to my banana, the banana has this code. I can tell that Neela is struggling with this drag and drop. Mommy may have to help her some. So both of them have the same code. There's one thing that needs to be different. And it's this, if food is equal to 1, the banana is the second food, right? So change it to a 2. Let's try it again. So now, if I try to eat the banana first, it'll say keep drying. Food should be eaten alphabetically. If I try to eat the apple first, it'll eat it. Now I'm going to go eat the banana. So you can see it worked if we did the banana. Now we're going to mass produce some food. And my goal is for you to do this on your own. I'm going to help you kind of sort of with one more, and then I want you to just kind of make a whole bunch. So to add the C, I'm just going to do it quickly here. I'm going to say choose a Sprite. I'm going to click on food, and I'm going to pick a C food. I'm going to pick cake. So now the cake is in here. And now I'm going to arrange the cake to be a certain size. The cake then needs the same code. So I'm going to drag the code onto the cake. And the cake is the third food, so I switch it to a 3. So I want you to mass produce that for a couple different fruits. Maybe go out to like egg, or if you want to, you can go to fortune cookie. There's one problem still with the sound, but we'll fix that. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to let you add all the foods that you want to add, and then we're going to fix the sounds together after you add them. So pause the video and go add your foods. All right, so our family had to take a little break. Maybe you guys, it's a good time to take a break as well. But I got mine added. So I've got apple and it says food 1. Check yours with me. So make sure your apple says food 1. Then click on your banana. Make sure it says food 2. Your cake or whatever C you've got, food 3. Donut 4. Egg 5. Fortune cookie 6. Now, if you try it, it will work right now, but the sounds may not work. So when I eat my apple, where'd my apple go to? My apple's right underneath my cake. When I eat my apple, it made noise. My banana actually made noise. But then after that, they quit making noise. So why did that? Oh, the donut made noise. So why do some make noise and others don't make noise? I'm going to also move my cake a little bit because my cake and my apple were right on top of each other. By the way, one trick for bringing them all back is if you just hit start and then stop immediately, then they all come back, right? So I like that trick so that you can actually see things. So why didn't they make noise? So the apple, you can see it says start sound chomp. And then if you go to his tab, he's got a chomp sound. So he's going to work fine. Banana actually has the same code. He plays chomp, but you can see his sounds may not have a chomp in it. So what we want to do is on the banana, I want to switch it to a sound that he does have. So he has bite. On cake, instead of chomp, I want to switch it to a sound he does have. I'm going to play birthday, which is actually a little long, but that's okay. Donut, instead of chomp, I'll go with bite. Egg, I think you see the pattern. So switch it to a sound he does have. Egg has pop. That's fine. And fortune cookie, what's fortune cookie got? He's got pop. Oh well. If you wanted to add more sounds, you could play around in the sound tab. But I quickly lose half an hour when I let my kids go play in the sound tab. So we're just going to fix it like that. So now they should all make noise. So my campers are going to make a ton of noise here. So I get the apple, banana. Birthday you're going to hear for like an hour. Donut, egg, fortune cookie. Cool. So I think that worked pretty well. One advanced thing you can do, by the way, on the birthday cake, its song was kind of long. So you don't have to do this. This is optional. I'm going to go into the birthday cake and the sounds, and I'm going to click faster a few times. And so it'll play a nice, fast happy birthday. But it was taking too long. So I went into the sounds on cake, and I clicked faster 1 or 2 times, right? All right. We're going to add one more feature. You guys up for one more feature? Yes. One more feature. When the game is over, nothing happens. And it would be kind of nice if something happened that said like, congratulations, or great job, or you win, or something like that. So we're going to add one more piece of code to Avery. So click on your Avery sprite. Her code should look like this. And we're going to add an if statement in here. So the if statements were over in control. In the control area, find if. And just like we did for all the foods, we're going to see if that variable is a certain number. You can see that I had 6 foods, so my variable ends at a 7. So for Avery, I'm going to say if food is equal to 7, then I'm going to play congratulations, you win, things like that. So I'm going to go to operators. I'm going to find the equals operator. This is just like we did before. I'm going to do variables. I'm going to do food is equal to 7. All right, so I've got that in there. If you ever need to pause it, by the way, just pause the video and put that in there. So when we win the game, we want to do a couple things. First, I want to say congratulations. So saying things is over in looks. This time I do care which I grab. I want to make sure to grab say hello without any time delay on it. So I just want to say hello. And you can put whatever congratulations message you want. Again, you might want to have an adult type for you. So I'm going to say you win alphabet breakfast. So type whatever message you'd like and make sure it's the version that doesn't have the delay on it. All right, so I typed that for my camper. Now we're ready to add a sound. Now Avery only has the sound of pop. That's not good enough. I want a funner sound. So make sure you've got Avery selected. go to her sound area, and let's add a new sound. So come down here to the lower left corner and say choose a sound. And the sound I want you to add is dance celebration. So there's a couple ways to find dance celebration. I chose to type in part of the word dance because I knew that it was one of the options. And I can see right here, the second one is dance celebration. So I'm going to click in the middle of this white box. Now that I've added this sound, Avery can now play the sound in our code, right? So I've added the sound here. Then I go into the code. And on sounds, this time I want play sound until done. So I'm going to play this sound, and it defaulted to dance celebration for me, which was nice, until done. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to end the program. So after I drag on play sound until done, I'm last going to grab a stop all. So it's in control, it's near the bottom, and it's a stop all. Now make sure that this gets dropped into the correct spot. So it needs to go inside this inner loop, and that's our last line of code. So it's time to try it. And then I'm going to walk around and I'm going to see how my campers did. So what should happen now is I should be able to play my game. Banana, cake, donut, egg, and then whenever I get the fortune cookie, it should do my dance celebration. All right, so I think that mine is ready to go, but I'm more interested to see how my campers did today. Neela, do you want to show us yours?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it, Neela. So Neela has a unicorn, as we know. And Neela is walking around with the unicorn, and she's got her sounds. And so she's got Cheesy Poos for C, donut, egg, and fortune cookie. Great job. All right, Bowen, let's see yours. Let's see how Bowen did. Bowen's is a penguin theme. So Bowen's has littler food. So he's going to walk around and he's going to eat his apple. Great job. And then his, oh, looks like you've got bread down there, Bowen. And then a cake. And then a donut.
I forgot to make it a little.
All right, and then your egg, which is way up in the sun, and then your fortune cookie. Oh, you made that one faster. Great job, Bowen. High five, bud. All right, Keegan, you're next in birth order. Let's see yours. So Keegan is 9, and he's a big old stinker pot. So his are teeny tiny. So you've got to really zoom in to see his apple. It's in the poster. So he's got an apple. And then I have no idea where his B is. Oh, it's a basketball. So he can see him with his infinitely small vision. But I can't even see him. All right, how many you got left, bud? I don't even know. One more? Oh, and he's got a lot of foods he added. And then he's got a song there. Great job, bud. All right, Sissy, you're up next. Sissy's our family artist. So, of course, she's got a craziness going on. She's got a butterfly, and she's got flowers, and she's got food eaten.
Why didn't it hide that?
She hides it after the song's over. Great job, sis. And then we're going to get to her celebration. She's also got a fancy dance party. All right, did you guys have fun building your program today?
Yes.
All right. I want to say one last thing before we let you go. So campers, you can just kind of bear with me and listen. If you want to publish your project, you can click on the word share here, and it'll make a public page that other people can look at. You do have to be signed in to do that. And then this URL right here you could send to a friend or family, and then they could see your project as well. So I think that's all I've got. Really, I just wanted to make sure that you know a couple things. You can sit on my lap. First off is coding is fun. You can totally do it. Neela is 5. This is her first coding experience ever. And she's learning little bits at a time, right? But we hopefully know that different sprites have different code. The code runs in order. And there's lots of great things we learned today. But we've got a whole week of this. And each day will hopefully get easier and easier for you. So we loved having you join us. We hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye.